We're joined by Harriet Pryor from the Anfield Wrap and Flex from United View. This is going to be lively, but before we get to these two...
He's shaking his head already.
Let's hear from Jurgen Klopp. His Liverpool side may be just 11 games away from becoming the first English side to win the quadruple. So what impact is that having on him and the squad?
Honestly, we don't think about it. We don't think about greatness or whatever, or immortality. We just think about Man United, which is actually enough for us to think about, so that's all what we can do, and that's what we did so far, as boring as it might be. But dreaming is really not very helpful when you are in the driving seat. But for all the people around, absolutely allowed, and we would never calm them down or whatever. Why should we?
Right, so Jurgen Klopp there, Harriet, insisting that they aren't focusing on the quadruple, but saying the fans can dream. Are you dreaming of that quadruple?
I think every day and week that goes by, we're probably dreaming of it a little bit more. And that's not to say that any of us think by the end of the season we're going to look back and have won all 4 trophies. But obviously, we won the League Cup nice and early. We've got that sense of momentum now. We feel like we're playing so well that we are a little bit unstoppable. And like you said, it's only 11 games, and the run that we're on, there's a sense that we are all dreaming. Obviously, for Klopp to say that, he knows that they've got to focus on the next game that's coming up. But he has had hints here and there now that he wants to take it all on, and he said recently, let's go for it, and why not? And if we're in this position in May where we've got it all to play for, why would we not be excited as fans? It might not happen, but the journey is even more exciting.
He's lying. He's lying. He is. He is. Look, in interviews, of course, he's got to do that. He's got to remain professional. Jurgen Klopp is thinking about this every single day. When he's running back to the Klopp or whatever the Kop or whatever stadium he's in, and he's giving it the 3 fist pumps and giving it all that and building momentum and celebrating the wins. It's more than just celebrating the wins. It's celebrating the fact that they're in this position to keep momentum high. And the players are thinking about it all the time as well. I mean, Harriet will know as well. You get players posting things up after games. I think Trent did it after the Carabao Cup final, 1 down, 3 to go, all this kind of thing. They're thinking about it every day. And you know what? That's what being a football player and a football fan is all about. If your team is in the ascendancy and competing on all fronts, I remember what it was like one day. You got to get behind it. You got to enjoy it.
Harriet, you mentioned 11 games away from something that no English side has achieved. Do you think the pressure will affect them at all?
No, like Flex was saying there, the players seem to all be really taking it in their stride. And like we've said, a lot of them have put on social media, this is just the beginning. Salah even put, with this team, winning should be the only option. And you really get that sense now that the mentality within the squad is that we can do something unprecedented here. And they all know that. And I think that really is translating to the form on the pitch, because you look throughout the team, and maybe with the exception of Salah, which we might talk about later, who I still think is in great form, by the way, they're performing at such a high level throughout that team, and you think, right, they must be knowing now they're in the business end of the season, they've got it all to play for, they could do something totally unprecedented, but many people have said it's unachievable, and they are 11 games away from that. I don't think they're feeling that pressure. I think they're feeling the excitement of it all. That first trophy really settled the nerves, and they've got it all to come now. It must be really exciting to be a player. I can't handle the pressure as a fan, so I can't imagine how they feel, but I think they're taking it all in their stride, definitely.
It must be horrible, Harriet. It must be awful, all that pressure.
It is difficult. It's difficult.
We've got half empty and half full on today.
Yeah, definitely. Right, well, Harry Maguire, Flex, said that stopping Liverpool's quadruple hopes and revenge for that 5-0 defeat in October are not motivation for Manchester United, but surely they are motivation.
Absolutely. Look, I think with how bad we've been, I would have liked to have seen him come out and be a bit more forceful on it. I can understand where he was trying to go with it. Look, as a professional, yes, you shouldn't need any other motivating factors apart from playing Liverpool away at Anfield under the lights to go and win the game. But this is a game that I look at where the professional side of it has actually gone out the window with the performances that we've seen from our team for the whole year. This is a game where most fans are not very optimistic of us getting it. Getting a win there. You look at people from outside the football club in different fan bases, everybody expects Manchester United to lose. And these Manchester United players, if they have anything about themselves, will go into this game and show something. I've been down, not looking forward to this game. You look at what happened in that 5-0 and how they treated us, and they actually stopped playing. It was really embarrassing. It could have gone on to be more. And I just think that if you look at this, the Manchester United players have to be looking at this right now and saying, the whole world expects us to lose this game. We've got 5 players out on top of that. Obviously, with what's happened with Ronaldo, the thoughts with his family at the moment as well. So that's another absentee as well. Things couldn't be in a worse position for Manchester United right now. But as a player, you have to look at yourself and say, everybody expects us to lose this game. Can you go and show something? Because I've been quite defeatist about this game. I can't see how we win it. But the players themselves have to be, and it has to be a motivating factor. Your biggest rivals come to Old Trafford and do that to you earlier on in the season, and then they go on from strength to strength and are now competing for 4 trophies and got 1 in the bag already. It's got to be a motivating factor. So, look, I understand what Harry Maguire was trying to do, and he did go on and praise the fans and talk about what it would mean to us. But you need to do it for yourself, guys. Honestly, you need to show some form of pride, let alone professionalism. Forget about us for a bit. Do it for yourselves as a starter, because Ralph Rangnick talks about lack of physicality, lack of effort, lack of intensity. You go and show any of those things that he's been labelling us with over the next couple of, in that 90 minutes, it's going to be a very, very horrible watch.
I actually like what Maguire said. If I was watching that as a fan, I'd think, yeah, I want you to be focusing on yourselves. I don't want you to be going into a game and thinking we're doing this to stop the opposition. I want to be thinking our fans have been staying with us through this bad run of form, through different managers, through everything that's been going off the pitch. And they want to see us win the 3 points, regardless of who the opposition is. I quite like the focus on themselves, and I just think that they shouldn't be distracted by what we're doing. I think it's a focus on other teams that gets the pressure in their head. And the United players, the last thing they need at the moment is the pressure.
Flex, what?
I think that's sorry. Just quickly,
No,
I just feel like Harry Maguire was literally doing that. Literally because of what you said there, Harriet. I actually think they don't want the pressure. We've seen what these players are like under pressure throughout the whole season. Absolutely buckled. At every moment, these players have buckled, and I just feel like that point there for him not to go strong on the fact that Liverpool are in the position they're in, and we can't have a repeat of the last performance against them at home. I just think it was a kind of way of literally doing what Harriet's saying. We don't want to put any more pressure on ourselves than there already is. But I just feel like it would have been refreshing. Considering as a fan we're so emotionally invested in to see how poor we've been, it just would have been nice to see him go a little bit stronger on that point. But I get it. In a formal interview where they don't want to add the pressure, he was always going to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Flex, I was going to ask you, what's changed since that 5-0 to give any confidence that it won't happen again?
Nothing. We've got worse. Honestly, we've got worse. We've got worse since then. Football is funny. Everything gears up to one sort of result, and miracles and things can happen. Even Ralph was said some very scathing things after our win against Norwich, sort of talking about we're the only team in the league that can concede these type of goals, and if we play like this against Liverpool, it'll be very difficult to take something from the game. We'll have to be at our best level. And since that 5-0, we have the interim manager and Ralph, but you can't exactly say as a Manchester United fan that actually there's been some improvement since then. It's been very, very inconsistent, and Liverpool have gone on and got even stronger, winning the Carabao Cup to gain momentum. They find themselves in a position at this point of the season fighting on all fronts. So it's heavily stacked against us, and that's why I'm almost making a rallying cry to the players, because everything is stacked against us in this game. Everything is stacked against us, where I cannot see how we win this game. I really can't. So to answer your question, Bella, the evidence-wise suggests that it's probably good. It should be even worse than 5-0 potentially, with how we're playing right now and how Liverpool are playing. But football's a funny game.
Harry, I'm looking at this fixture tonight, and Liverpool, Man U, that's always a big one. Anything can happen there. Anything can happen against Everton at the weekend. But just studying your fixtures a bit more, away at Newcastle, right, that's not easy anymore. Home to Tottenham, Conte, that'll probably be 0-0. Away at Villa, that's tough, OK, but Gerrard might do you a favour. And then Wolves at home at the end of the season as well. And I think there's one more that I've missed out as well. That's actually a much tougher running than I actually had in my head.
We've got a really tough run, and I don't think for a second Gerrard is going to be doing us any favours, to be honest. And you look at the teams we've got to face, they're either involved in relegation scraps or they're fighting for top 4 positions. But any team in the Premier League, we've seen it, in Crystal Palace play City and other teams in the league, they're capable of taking points off each other, and that's what you've got to think now. And that's why when you look at our remaining games, I think they are all must-wins because of the heights that Manchester City are pushing us to, because of the levels that you're expected to perform at now, that if you even drop 2 points and you come away with a draw from somewhere, that basically takes you out of the race. So it's a really tough run of fixtures. So Klopp, for me, is right to just take it game by game in the mentality of the squad, which he constantly talks about, and we constantly recognise as fans as how well they're performing in training, which he refers to a lot, the squad depth that we have now and the introduction of Diaz in January. Everything feels like it's on our side. However, you look at those fixtures and they are tough, and you're throwing in an FA Cup final in there, a Champions League semi-final, potentially a final, depending on how that goes. We could be playing every single game possible this season, which is unthinkable. But it is tough, and that run-in is not easy whatsoever. So we're going to have to be laser-sharp focused throughout.
Flex, we're going to give you a break from Manchester United for a minute. Don't say I don't help you out, OK? We're going to talk Manchester City.
I was going to say, have you seen that yellow bar? I don't know what you're trying to do to me this morning.
Look, we're reporting that Manchester City will meet Erling Haaland's release clause. What's your reaction to it? They've got an immense squad already, and then this guy's going to come in. How are you feeling about that?
Honestly, that's making me want to stop watching football soon. I think it is a bit of a kick in the teeth, but you know what? This rebuild that we've got under Erik ten Hag that's going to be incoming, we've just got to focus on ourselves. We've got to remove ourselves away from the expectation in the near future of challenging for titles and challenging in the Champions League or trying to get in it for now. We've got to completely rebuild our squad, and if anything, it should be used as motivation for the new manager, hopefully for the board and the owners in terms of the new direction we want to go in, because I don't know what more you would need to tell you to fix up what you're doing than looking at across at Liverpool, who are competing on all these fronts up against Manchester City, and then looking at Manchester City going up a gear again and signing arguably one of the best number 9s in the world in Erling Haaland, which is going to increase the gap that is already humongous between us and them. But like I said, it isn't actually about looking at them. I mean, Harriet touched on it earlier, sort of saying that, it's the pressure of looking at other people or other teams that can make it harder for yourselves. We are nowhere near that level right now, and as sad as it is to say, that acceptance needs to be there, not only from Manchester United fans, but I think more importantly, the club and the institution of where it needs to be and how it needs to rebuild. Remove yourself from those big top dog conversations at the moment. Get back to basics and rebuild. But it's a horrible reminder as to how far away we are.
And Harriet, there's not much gap between Liverpool and Manchester City in terms of quality at the moment and points. How worrying is it for you having someone like Haaland come in?
Yeah, I mean, I was worried when they were looking at signing Kane in the summer, and obviously anyone that they bring in now that can strengthen an already incredible squad, if we're being honest, is going to be a worry. And they've been playing without an out-and-out striker, and we know that Pep Guardiola doesn't like doing that. He doesn't particularly enjoy having to play at that false 9 position, even though they've managed this season. I say managed, they're top of the league. It sounds ridiculous that we're saying that they've scraped through, and they absolutely haven't. But adding that out-and-out striker to an already prolific goal-scoring team is obviously going to be a concern. However, having said that, we've come up against, as Liverpool fans, this Manchester City strategy of signing big transfers and bringing in these big players for years, and we've managed to keep pace. And our transfer strategy is completely different at Liverpool. We bring in players that are coming up and coming and sort of haven't proved themselves as much yet, and that's not the strategy they go out, and we've managed to keep pace. So I'm worried about it, yes, but do I think we'll still be able to compete with them even if they have Haaland in the team? Absolutely.